Hello, I'd like to welcome to this Opentalk session. I'm Des Dilove, co-founder of Thinkers 50, the world's most reliable resource for identifying, ranking, and sharing the leading management ideas of our age. Thinkers 50 is proud to be partnering with Hire on the European Rendenhai Center. We're also delighted to be joined today by 4 of our sister Rendenhai centers in Singapore, India, Russia, and Silicon Valley. Our topic today is maximizing human value in the Internet of Things era. The famous management thinker Peter Drucker said, management is about human beings. Its task is to make people capable of joint performance, to make their strengths effective and their weaknesses irrelevant. No wonder then that the human dimension of enterprises is an important topic of research in the field of management and has become a key principle of corporate transformation. What's making it even more relevant today is the advent of new technologies in the Internet of Things era, including artificial intelligence, robotics, and other forms of machine learning. Human beings cannot and should not try to compete directly with these new technologies because we will not create value that way. It's simply not enough to be a bad robot, by which I mean trying to resist the rising tide is going to be futile. Instead, we need to discover and leverage our human qualities to maximize our value. Now, that's where new management models and organizational forms come in. As Hire CEO Zhang Weimin explains, at the core of Rendenhai is a belief in the maximization of human value and in the immeasurable value of every individual. That is why it works in every industry and every country. Our model, he says, reflects an essential characteristic of the Internet of Things. The Internet of Things is about the interconnection of all things for the purpose of improving experiences for people. To me, the Internet of Things is essentially an Internet of people. And if you don't get people connected to it, you can't have a successful Internet of Things. So I think that sets the scene nicely. The format today is a roundtable. Each of the Rendenhai centers has 10 minutes to tell us about what they've been doing and share insights about maximizing human value. And then I hope we'll have time to open the panel and have a discussion at the end. I'm looking forward to hearing from the other centers shortly, but first I just want to share a little bit about how Thinkers 50 came to be on this journey and what we've learned. So we first encountered Hire 7 years ago when we awarded Zhang Weimin our award for Ideas into Practice. We spent time with Zhang and were inspired by the story he told us. Even more, we were inspired by what he and Hire were actually doing. So we were delighted when he invited us to Qingdao to see for ourselves. We've been back several times now. We believe there is nothing so practical as a great idea, and at Hire we saw new ideas being put into practice. What interested us at Thinkers 50 were ideas like teamworking, collaboration, empowerment, trust, and recognition. We noticed, for example, that individuals responsible for new innovations at Hire gave their names to the innovations. A small thing, you might think, but one that speaks volumes about a culture that celebrates human value. And of course, the Rendenhai ecosystem model, with its platform of micro-enterprises, is now recognized around the world as revolutionary. Now, one organization doesn't have all the answers, but there is no doubt that Hire is exploring what the answers might be in novel and interesting ways. It is a fundamentally human-centric organization. Now, as I mentioned before, this session brings together Rendenhai centers from all around the world. I'm excited to be here and to learn more about what they are doing. So if we may, we will go to Singapore first. I'll introduce Ellen Dick, is a member of Corporate Rebels, where she focuses on building a movement to change the way we work. Her objective is to showcase other more effective ways of working that may inspire workplace changes for the better. As of February this year, Ellen is also responsible for the Hire Research Institute in Singapore. The institute is connecting companies with Hire so they can learn firsthand about Hire's new business approach and come to see what this could mean to the future of their businesses. Ellen, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So first of all, just to check that everybody can see my slides. Yeah?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, great. So thank you, Des. Very happy to be here today. I'm afraid we're not actually speaking from Singapore, which we would have liked to spend a bit more time this year, but due to obvious facts, we're not there. I'm actually here in the Netherlands, where I'd say headquarters of Corporate Rebels is. So yeah, it's great to be here today to share a bit more about what we are doing from the Research Centre in Singapore. First of all, to give a little bit of a background, at Corporate Rebels, we're on a mission to make work more fun. And we're doing this by visiting pioneer organizations all over the world and learning from their radical way of working. At the moment, we visited more than 120 pioneers to learn how they can make workplaces more joyful, fun, and rewarding. As you can imagine, Hire is also one of these organizations. Back in 2017, we visited Hire for the first time. And since that moment, we've been sharing through our blog the way that Hire is working. We see a tremendous amount of interest in this. And I feel that is because Hire shows of the way it can be done differently. A lot of the time we hear organizations coming up with the excuse, that won't work for us, can't work on that scale, while Hire proves that it actually can. So what I'd like to do today is share a bit more about what we are actually doing through Hire, through the Research Centre. So one of the things we're working on through research is a Hire book, which we're writing this year, and which is soon to be released in next year, the beginning of next year. And in this book, you'll learn about Hire and how they managed to grow out to become the entrepreneurial giant that they've become today. And this book is filled with personal stories from Hire's people, explaining in detail how and why things work at the multiple stories in Hire. We also hear from GEA and how they're transforming and adapting into the Reng-Dong-Hei model in their organization. Aside from that, we're also doing research with INSEAD. And this research is focused on the last transformation that Hire has gone through. So moving more towards ecosystem of micro-enterprise, micro communities. Good news, this research will actually also be shared afterwards and will be shaped into a teaching case where workshops will come out of that. From all the things that I'm wanting to share with you today, if there's anything that you feel might be interesting for you to join, I will be putting my email address in the comments later so that you can get in contact with me. So aside from researching, we feel that it's time to get into action. We're talking about this and we know things are having to change. How are we going to set this into motion? So aside from the research, what we're also working on is actually connecting companies straight to Hire. Through the blog and all the research we do, we get a lot of interest of companies coming to us, asking if we can share more about this model. However, we believe that although we know a lot about it, there's nobody better that can explain it than Hire. So over the last few months, we've also been connecting organizations to Hire. For example, Fujitsu, Jaipur Rugs, and Severstar, which you'll actually be hearing from in the next panels as well, to hear what they're working on. Aside from these bigger companies, the last year, we've also been working on organizing a trip together with Hire for companies to go and visit factories and the company itself. Because we believe that, again, it's best for them to hear it for themselves, to feel it and see what is going on there. I would have loved to say that this trip was going to be in November, but due to the circumstances, we're kind of working on when that's going to be and if it's going to be this year or that it's going to be next year. But good news, there are still spots open for when it takes place. So if this sounds interesting for you, you can also check out the website where there's more information on that. One thing that we do notice, obviously, during this Corona time is that sometimes it can be hard to meet face-to-face. That's why we're also working on a website. With this website, we aim to set up an interactive community of enterprise management models. And on this site, and this platform and community as we see it, we will be inviting companies and experts to share their knowledge on this topic. By creating this platform, we can reach more interested people in this novel management models. And then the last thing that we're working on at the moment as well is an online academy. So our online academy will be there for people to join, where they can learn about pioneering organizations changing the way we work today. Hi will also be included in this. Now, to be honest, I feel I could, talk for another hour about why we need to change the way that we're working. But I have a short clip that I feel will explain that a lot better.
The way we work is broken, badly broken. It was appropriate in a stable, slow, and predictable world that no longer exists. Endless layers of hierarchy, top-down decision-making, and stifling bureaucracy are killing motivation and undermining creativity. Tight rules and regulations and command and control structures no longer deliver optimal results. Our complex world is fast changing, and the traditional way of working destroys organizations and frustrates people. Just look at the numbers. 37% of people believe their job makes no useful contribution to society. A staggering 85% of employees feel disengaged at work. Global productivity growth is declining as bureaucracy and hierarchy increasingly poison our organizations. Work, as we know it today, is simply not working. The good news? There is a better way. And it's not just theory. A select group of pioneering organizations has cracked the code. Their radical organizational structures allow them to reduce hierarchy and eliminate top-down control, while unleashing freedom and autonomy at all levels. These progressives beat the competition with sky-high employee engagement, increased productivity, immense client satisfaction, and improved profitability. Now, you can discover how such pioneering models work and how to apply them to your organization. We provide a 6-week intensive online course that will help you understand and design progressive organizational structures. Classes of 20 like-minded rebels from different companies. A powerful combination of on-demand content and live sessions with pioneers from around the world. Lifetime access to a unique community of alumni. Are you eager to fully understand how the world's most radical pioneers work? Are you ready to design a highly progressive workplace? Apply now. Join the revolution at corporate-rebels.com/academy. The way we
So as you can see, what our aim is to find a right balance between doing research on the one hand, but also, setting things into motion and to action on the other hand. And that's why for us, it's so amazing to see so many people join us on these 3 days to learn more from hire, but also from the companies who are starting to implement it. And all I can say is I hope that, the rest of this day and tomorrow is going to be very inspiring for you and that we're going to see more change happening as we go on. So that was it from me. Going back over to you, Des.
Thanks, Helen. 37% of employees believe their work makes no contribution. Was that the figure? 37%. I mean, that's alarming.
Yeah.
Truly alarming. Okay, we're gonna cross over now. We're gonna go all the way to California, to Silicon Valley, and hear from our Silicon Valley Rendenhai Center. Dr. Annika Steiber is the director of the Rendenhai Silicon Valley Center, the director for partnerships and innovation, and a faculty member at Menlo College. Steiber holds a PhD in technology management, focusing on corporate entrepreneurship and innovation. He specializes in management models for the digital age and is the author of several management books, including The Google Model, Management for Continuous Innovation in a Rapidly Changing World, and, intriguingly, Management for the Digital Age, Will China Surpass Silicon Valley? Annika, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you. Yes, over to you. The virtual stage is yours.